I don't know why it's not playing. Oh, that one. It's working.
With your friends, and the day, even though it works, I didn't get anything free. They think it's odd and make a video. If this ever happens to him again, a group of friends see a stranger leave the woods in a hurry. They think it's odd and make a video.
Andy caught someone coming out of the tunnel. Pretty creepy, pretty scary. So. Oh, bro, what's that smell? Oh, it's
Oh my god. This is so generous.
Rank. Can you smell that?
Guys, there's literally flies all over the place.
Oh, bro, can you smell that?
That stinks,
Oh,
bro.
nasty, huh?
In the tunnel, they find a white sheet covered in red with a very distinct human outline underneath, and this is their reaction.
That stinks. Man, that was grim. Hey, we
Body right now.
need to ring the police.
As crazy as anything.
Having this happen would be really scary.
We need to ring the police.
What?
We need to ring the police.
Have you got a phone?
No, I've not got a phone. Have you got one?
Bro.
Can I have police, please?
You through to the police?
1 minute you're hanging out with your friends, and the next moment you're all suspects.
Yeah, I've just been exploring with mate, and we've just found a body.
A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. 2 other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Alright, the science shit.
Boom! Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old
Looking at.
chemical vat and take a big whiff. Linfamous TV goes ghost hunting in the woods of Long Island, and they say this place is truly haunted. They're expecting the ghost sighting of a lifetime, and what they've caught on camera does not let them down.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
They aren't sure what they heard, and so they press forward despite feeling scared early on. The deeper they go, the more haunted things start to look and feel.
Over here, it looks like it's something from a horror movie. Right. These woods right here are really spooky.
Something is wrong with this part of the woods. They can feel it, but being ghost hunters means doing creepy stuff all the time, and so they go down this path against better judgment.
Got a cold spot. Completely blocking out the sky.
I thought it was her friend, but it's not. At 5 minutes and 58 seconds, Lynn's friend is to the right. He is still to the right at 6 minutes when Lynn looks left and then up at the trees. When she brings the camera down, a ghost is there. There is a ghost on the left. Her friend, meanwhile, is still standing to her opposite side as they try to consult her GPS system and get weird interference.
Where in well, on the map, what does it take us to? Does it look like it ends?
Get an instant eye lift with these innovative eyelid correcting strips. Do you have the same problem? Then this easy solution.
Oh, sure. Like in Huntington or something. like how to say. What?
Their GPS loudly messes up and takes them in a wide loop for almost 3 hours before it straightens out. Weird how their equipment does this the same minute they have this paranormal encounter. Oh, and one last thing. Lynn's friend is wearing a baseball hat. This ghost looking straight at them does not. Therefore, I have a strange feeling that this ghost sighting video could be real. The shadow hunters from Brazil go exploring the woods for an abandoned house haunted by an angry poltergeist. It's a long walk through darkness to find it, but when they do, they go sprinting up to its yellow walls to try and catch the poltergeist by surprise. Paranormal encounter. Oh, and one last thing. Lynn's friend is wearing a baseball hat. This
Vai. Tem alguém aí?
They walk around the perimeter of the poltergeist house and find something else that leaves him extremely freaked out and regretting their decision to come here at night.
Tem nada aí não, mano. Tem alguém aí? Tem vela aqui também. Nossa, mano do céu.
On the ground are more candles and a sheet that with something strangely shaped underneath of it. Candles surround the object on all sides and give me a bad feeling that something has gone really wrong here. Whatever's been covered with a sheet is not moving. Of the poltergeist house and find something else that leaves him
It's interesting.
is not moving and shows no signs of life. They go inside for a closer look but do not dare lift up the sheet and see what's inside. What do you think was under there? If the legends were true about this poltergeist being a summoner, then I think we all know the answer. They might have set this all up for a video, but I don't think so. He doesn't waste any time ending this video and calling the police. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh, wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Here it is, sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane, and died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. Up a long forest mountain path is an abandoned house near the Chinese city of Chengdu that is said to be haunted. An explorer named the Sneezing Monkey travels to the fabled house to see if anything paranormal is there. There's not much left inside, but he does find an old book that he seems particularly interested in. At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, it almost looks like it gets slapped out of his hands by a possible ghost, but he could have dropped it too. Tell me what these pages say. For some reason, he seems to feel it's interesting enough to show the camera. Not much else happens, and just when I was doubting this house was haunted, I hear this. He's looking in some kind of fire pit or something and hears a noise. He looks up and hears it again coming from the attic. He doesn't stick around for long and wisely decides to leave. Smallmouth Crush is making a fishing video on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. He's drifting by when further down the riverbank something strange catches his eye. A head is sticking out of the water, long black hair. Her back is to him. He looks at the head for a long time, unable to mentally process what he's seeing and not sure what to do. He gives the object a poke just to make sure it is what he fears. It has a face, and it is exactly what he's afraid of. I think we are all thinking it's the same thing, especially from this distance. But when he pokes at it some more, an artificial neck joint pops free from the mud. This is a mannequin head, not a real one.
Dude, what is happening? Look at this thing. This is nasty.
Not finding a body is a relief, I suppose, but it also begs the question as to why anyone would take a blindfolded mannequin head out into the woods in the first place. I've heard of people simulating their demented desires onto mannequins before moving on to the real thing as part of their transformation into a full-blown psycho. There's a lot of creepy people out there, I guess. And to further prove my point, he looks up to find something even more sickening nearby.
Look at that freaky thing. I'm out of here.
It looks like somebody has been using this spot to do some pretty twisted fantasizing. And as he speeds away, I can't help but wonder, what if that's not a doll? A Russian YouTuber named Phantom claims to have met a ghost at an abandoned house that's full of, quote, many terrible and mysterious legends. Maybe this sign will tell us more about its history if someone can translate it. All I can make out is the year 1910 at the very bottom. In the middle of a rock floor, he finds candles unlit, strewn in a circle. The scene gives him an eerie feeling, and he doesn't want to stay here for long, for fear of whoever left them here returning to find him. He thinks the legends probably are not real, and that whoever set these candles was just trying to scare paranormal explorers like him. He decides to come back even later at night to make sure the legends of paranormal activity really are just a myth. As he creeps back to the house, he's surprised to find the candles are now lit, and his horrors have just begun. Standing in the middle of the circle is a mysterious tall figure wearing robes, and seemingly not even noticing Phantom is at the window. So deep is its concentration, it's locked in a dark meditation of some sort that he cannot break. Phantom
We're giving away our 7... We're giving away our $79 backpack for free. You just pay the shipping. No hidden charges, no recurring...
no longer cares about getting the best paranormal evidence ever caught on camera, and goes running into the woods for his life. The woods have grown colder, more forbidding, as he hides between a tree and wait, too afraid to turn his light off even though he knows he's being followed. The mysterious figure is on him in an instant, and as it heads his way without taking any steps, he gets to see its smirking face under the cloak. I think this video is probably not real, because it looks like he uses a filter to stimulate his equipment messing up, and also because if it was real, then I don't know how he could have survived. This strange forest sighting was claimed to have been found deep in the forest, and was posted by a Reddit user named Paralemptor. I don't think it was too deep in the forest though, because it seems like there's a well-kept trail leading right through it. Years later, the mystery seems to have been solved. This is not a ring of creepy creatures from another planet, but rather an eerie sculpture from the Pride of the Valley Sculpture Park in the United Kingdom. I've seen this image floating around online for quite a while with no context, but now you've heard the real story on Chills. A YouTuber named Vision Quest Outdoors is exploring the Gettysburg Field when he has what he believes is a real video of a ghost sighting. The video is pretty scary, and I think he could be right. Let's take a look at the paranormal evidence and try to figure out what it was he and his friends say on that night.
What is that? Oh my God. What am I seeing? No way there's a guy out here at 2 a.m.
According to the uploader, they turned around only to find the figure had mysteriously disappeared.
But they didn't move.
Swing around.
This is the footage from when they turned around, but unfortunately it's too dark to make out very much one way or another. I believe what he says is true because if I'm not mistaken, this footage is from the same location during the day. There are cannons lined up here, but no statue whatsoever. If this was the same location, then this definitely has to be a real ghost sighting caught on video. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow.
Okay, I'm done, I think. I don't know, what's it watch? Yeah, let's watch CCTV.
What the hell is that?
Link, back in the vehicle! Dad,
Oh, that's all I heard. Turn it down. Nah, I don't think that would ever happen. What the heck?
Oh my god. I literally, this is so generous. Things happen in our world that many times are unexplainable. As much as we want to put logic to it, there are events that escape any type of reasoning. And if you don't believe it, don't miss this terrifying video in which we discover 5 unexplainable moments captured on camera. Are you ready for our list? Number 5. We start this video with a recording made by a security camera in Chile in April 2019. This news went viral and was even broadcasted in other countries. The car that appears in the images is parked by its owners and all the people inside the vehicle leave. Then the car begins to move by itself and to circulate on the road following a circuit that cannot be associated with an alleged neglect of the handbrake. Really, the images are shocking, and to this day there is no explanation whatsoever of what exactly happened. The images are shocking. Then the car begins to move by viral and was even broadcasted in other countries. The car that appears in the images is parked by its owners and all the people inside the vehicle leave. Then the car begins to move by itself and to circulate on the road following a circuit that cannot be associated with an alleged neglect of the handbrake. Really, the images are shocking, and to this day there is no explanation whatsoever of what exactly happened.
Just really dark windows. Someone was driving it.
Number 4. Now we're going to share a video viral in 2015 due to the inexplicable video. Here we can see a police officer at the Ecuadorian National Police Station's parking lot. This video went viral in 2015 due to the inexplicable video. Here we can see a police officer go to his car to pick something up that he had forgotten. He closes the vehicle and leaves the parking lot. When he leaves the scene, the car starts up on its own and begins to move around the parking lot with no one in it. When the police officer returns, he can't understand what has happened to his car and why it's in a different parking spot. This video definitely speaks for itself. Number 3. In the news program Noti 7, a video with paranormal activity was recorded. This video became very popular in 2019 because the footage captured a group of thieves stealing a car. But it didn't go viral because of the robbery. In fact, the most shocking part of the video is that through the wall we can see an undefined human form that could very well be a ghost or some type of spirit. What do you think? Number 2. Paranormal activity can also occur in schools and be captured by their surveillance cameras. This is exactly what happened in a school in Ireland during the night of October 26, 2017. The first thing we hear in this video is a loud noise that could come from any external element. Rain, wind, the storm? Immediately afterwards, something falls from the ceiling and a chair begins to move down the aisle. We can also see a locker begin to present uncontrolled movements. There's even papers shooting out of the locker. Truly a creepy and inexplicable video. Number 1. We end our list with a spooky story. This video was recorded in 2016 inside a government building. Here, a soldier does his night watch at 4 in the morning to check that everything is going well. Then the security cameras record an inexplicable movement. The images are very clear and the soldier did not see or perceive anything while he was in the room, but he definitely saw everything once he reviewed the security cameras. So, what did you think of this video? Let us know in the comments below, subscribe for more spooky content, and we'll see you in the next video.
Check something.
Like and subscribe right now, or the spider will crawl on your face.
Insulin injections can make diabetes complicated. Meet Omnipod. It delivers insulin without daily injections. Just
On your face when you're sleeping.
10 activities on the camera. However, the security camera also captures other things taking place that we may have missed to notice. Some of these moments are helpful, while others are terrifying moments that we wish to unsee. We have heard of ghost stories caught on CCTVs, and today, we're on a quest to show you the creepiest moments caught on CCTV and other home security devices. Let's take a look at them, and make sure to tell us in the comments which one of these creeped you out the most.
Dobby heard Creature mention Harry Potter's name. And then Dobby saw Creature talking with the thief.
Number 10, a strange creature that looks like a Harry Potter character. In June 2019, Vivian Gomez posted a video on Facebook that went viral, not because it was a video of her looking good, but because nobody knew what was caught wandering around her neighborhood. The clip showed an alien-looking creature that strongly resembles Dobby the house elf, a character from the Harry Potter films. The figure has wobbly legs and floppy ears, joyously doing a chicken dance around the neighborhood. The video got over 9 million views over the days, with people still wondering what it was. There was a theory that it may be a hoax video inspired by Dobby. What do you think it is? Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video. Number 9, the mysterious disappearance of Lars Mittank. A 28-year-old German man, Lars Mittank, was on vacation in Bulgaria when he disappeared. He was last seen on the security camera footage of an airport running away from the medical office and into thin air. He vanishes into thin air as he is seen as if running for his life as far away as he could get. His mother reported that just before disappearing, Mittank had been behaving erratically and showing terrible signs of paranoia. To this day, it's still a mystery why he left like that, leaving his belongings at the medical office. Number 8, man holds toddler hostage in Walmart. This is a more terrifying video than it is creepy. The CCTV at Walmart in Midwest City showed a man, Sammy Wallace, snatching a 2-year-old girl from her mother's shopping cart and holding her at knife point. In the video, we see Wallace walking in Walmart and starting pushing the shopping cart while talking on the phone. We continue to see Wallace circling around the supermarket until he sees a woman, Alicia Keating, and her 2 daughters. Wallace keeps walking around the family and is seen to suddenly grab the small child from the cart while Keating's back is turned from them. Keating is seen to plead for Wallace to give her child back. People in the store approach and begin to call 911. The city police arrived and tried negotiating with him for more than an hour. Wallace threatened the girl with a knife and counted 60 seconds to end the child. The officer brings a chair for Wallace to sit, and as he continues to count, he shoots him on the head. Wallace's parents told the police that he had a long history of mental illness. The child was traumatized for a while, but is now back to her joyous self. Number 7, the infamous Miami cannibal attack. This footage caused a hot stir as people thought that a zombie was roaming the streets of Miami, Florida. The truth was a 31-year-old homeless man, Rudy Eugene, attacked another homeless man, Ronald Popo. Eugene had no clothes on when police found him eating off Ronald's face in daylight on a busy highway. He was still chewing off his face and was only stopped when the police fired 4 bullets at him. He had already gnawed the victim's face. The man was said to have shown behavior that was caused by ingesting the synthetic cocaine substitute known as bath salts. Popo, on the other hand, was taken to the Jackson Memorial Hospital for treatment. How insane is that? You never know what CCTV will capture. Up next is a story that will send a chill down your spine. Number 6, what happened to Elisa Lam? On February 19, 2013, the body of Elisa Miners had started to believe that evening. The footage shows the questions in thick. This incident was caught by both the CCTV cameras and a camera crew. A mystery. Number 5, twin sisters repeatedly run out into traffic. This incident was caught by both the CCTV cameras and a camera crew that was filming an episode of the BBC series Traffic Cops. Twin sisters Sabina and Ursula Eriksson were running across the M6 highway when they were repeatedly struck by oncoming traffic. One of the twins, Sabina, had been hit head-on by a Volkswagen, while Ursula had been run over by a truck and her legs were crushed. Everything that happened was confusing as the twins were seen to have gone crazy. Everything happened very fast. Years later, the twins are still remembered as they were broadcasted on the 2010 BBC documentary, Madness in the Fast Lane. Number 4, Naked Peeping Tom and Ronald Reagan Mask. This is a funny one depending on someone's sense of humor. Reality TV star Danielle Yancey and her husband Bart got the surprise of a New Year's Eve when a nude man crept into their breezeway wearing a rubber mask of the 40th U.S. President, Ronald Reagan. Yancey's husband was taking the trash out when he caught a glimpse of a shadow in their breezeway. He yelled at him and tried to catch him, making the trespasser creep away. He called 911 and informed them of a nude trespasser. The police tried to look for him, but were not able to find him anywhere around the neighborhood. Some theories were saying that the guy didn't mean any harm and that it could have been a lost bet, a dare, or just a teenage New Year's Eve party gone out of control. Either way, Yancy posted on Facebook the photos and videos of the guy, saying that she hopes that something like that never happens again. Bizarre, and there is no explanation for this. Daniel Parker is a shopkeeper at Barnsley Antique Centre in South Yorkshire. On Monday, he
To unlock the world's greatest potential, we need empathy. Because improving your world starts.
He arrived at work and found a 1960s Bambi toy lying on the shop floor. Like a normal curious person, he decided to rewind the store's CCTV cameras to check what transpired, and what he saw had him horrified. The rocking Bambi was moving eerily despite nothing being near it. It just rocked slowly while stopping and rocking again. Then after a while, it flipped as if someone was getting off. He tried recreating the movement, rocking the toy back and forth as it was doing on the camera, but it was impossible to do so. He said that the movement could only be created when someone was on it. After having hundreds of unexplained events in his 2 years of owning the shop, his customers concluded that it's the ghosts of children. Someone was on it. Movement, rocking the toy back, rocked slowly while transpired, and what he saw, toy lying on the shop. Daniel Parker is a keeper at Barnsley Antique Centre in South Yorkshire. On Monday, he arrived at work and found a 1960s Bambi toy lying on the shop floor. Like a normal curious person, he decided to rewind the store's CCTV cameras to check what transpired, and what he saw had him horrified. The rocking Bambi was moving eerily despite nothing being near it. It just rocked slowly while stopping and rocking, and what he saw had him horrified. The rocking Bambi was moving eerily despite nothing being near it. It just rocked slowly while stopping and rocking again. Then after a while, it flipped as if someone was getting off. He tried recreating the movement, rocking the toy back and forth as it was doing on the camera, but it was impossible to do so. He said that the movement could only be created when someone was on it. Rocking the toy back and forth slowly while stopping, and what he saw had him horrified. The rocking Bambi was moving eerily despite nothing being near it. It just rocked slowly while stopping and rocking again. Then after a while, it flipped as if someone was getting off. He tried recreating the movement, rocking the toy back and forth as it was doing on the camera, but it was impossible to do so. He said that the movement could only be created when someone was on it. After having hundreds of unexplained events in his 2 years of owning the shop, his customers concluded that it's the ghosts of children. Some customers even claim that spirits talk to them while they're in the store, but we don't know what to believe. The shop was once an old mill in the 18th century before it became a baby care store, then Daniel's shop. So there could be a truth that the happenings are ghosts of children, but what do we know? And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. So if you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in our future video. Number 2, Hero Nanny saves boy from burglar in home. Jenna is one of the nannies that deserves a hero badge, if not a raise. Jenna and the boy were out running errands when a burglar broke into the house. He was seen on the home surveillance cameras walking into the kitchen. He looks around and notices Jenna's purse and dumps her things onto the kitchen counter. He is seen leaving the kitchen and rummaging through rooms searching for any valuable item. He walks into a room, which later the father confirms it's the boy's room. Things get scarier when we see Jenna walk back into the house with the boy. He is seen on the cameras wandering in the kitchen when Jenna rushes in and carries him running outside to get help. Minutes later, the burglar rushes outside in the opposite direction. Everything happened so fast, and it was amazing to see Jenna saving the child's life first. You could tell Jenna really cares about the boy. The thought of the parents coming home to see the camera footage gives me chills. That was sheer panic indeed.
Number 1, Missy Bevers. In a small town like Ellis County, Texas, where everybody knows everybody, it seems hard to keep secrets. And yet, there is one thing that nobody seems to know. The person who ended Missy Bevers' life. Missy Bevers was a 45-year-old fitness instructor. At around 4 a.m. on April 18, 2016, Bevers walked into Creekside Church in Midlothian ready to start her day by leading a workout. It seems that someone was already in there waiting for her. When her workout group arrived, they found her unconscious and bleeding from numerous puncture wounds to the head and chest. It was already too late to save her as she passed on the crime scene while waiting for the paramedics. A surveillance video showed the killer leaving, and he/she was oddly dressed in full SWAT gear, holding the hammer that is said to have been used as a murder weapon to bludgeon Bevers to death. Nobody still knows who it was to date. The question still runs in the community, who would want to kill Missy? And who was the person in SWAT uniform? Because it was certainly not a police officer, or was it? I don't know about you, but if the footage of CCTV could be made into a film, it would have some amazingly interesting episodes. The people working on that would never get bored.
When you earn a degree with University of Phoenix, we support you with career coaching, including resume building,
"2020 has given us a plethora of crime stories, from Tiger King to decades-old cold cases being solved. Us true crime fans have had plenty to sink our teeth into. With forensic science becoming more and more advanced, who knows what cases we'll be able to see a resolution to in 2021. Number 5. On April 9th, 1996, 2 fishermen discovered the body of a 40 to 65-year-old male in the Greenwood Bayou in Mobile County, Alabama. The man was inside of a sack that was floating in the water when the 2 fishermen opened the sack, and they discovered that the man had been bound, strangled, and had suffered blunt force trauma. Greenwood Bayou was a popular fishing spot and easily accessible via car, so whoever left him there knew that he would likely be discovered quickly. However, over 24 years have passed and the man's identity is still a mystery. In absence of a name, he was named the Mobile County John Doe, as the Mobile Police Department had worked to find out his true identity. No one has come forward to claim the John Doe, leaving investigators to believe that he's either from out of state or was killed by someone close to him. Users on Reddit have taken a different approach to the case, commenting that law enforcement may be involved in some way with the case. People have pointed out that the Mobile County John Doe is not mentioned in any newspapers or radio broadcasts, and the only information we have about him is through the Doe Network and other databases. It appears that robbery was not the motive, as he was found with many of his personal belongings. He had a Rolex-style watch on one of his wrists, a case brand pocket knife, a black comb, 2 gray and yellow cross brand pins, a metal necklace, and an eagle pendant. A ring with a clear stone, and a Torque Star Head VIM VT470 wrench, which may have been used as a weapon. He was also found fully clothed, giving investigators more details to work with compared to other Doe cases in the area. Mobile County John Doe's clothing is the following: He was wearing a Hanes size 30 briefs, Rustler 29-inch waist, 32-inch length blue denim trousers, a Carriage Street short-sleeved shirt. He also wore the shirt sleeves rolled and buttoned up above his elbow. Even with all of this information, the Mobile County Police Department are still no closer to finding out his identity. His details match no missing persons reports, and nobody in the local area has come forward claiming to know the man. The Mobile County John Doe has short brown hair and graying brown facial hair. He has an 8.5-inch scar on his lower back, and he has 2 surgical rods in his lower back, with the procedure likely being performed in the 1960s. If you have any information, you're urged to contact the Mobile Police Department. Number 4. Andrew and Mark Middle were in West Denbighshire, located in Wales, gathering firewood to prepare for a long evening ahead of them. As they searched around the area, they came across a human skull. Shocked at what they had discovered, they phoned 999 and reported their finding to the police. Police arrived at the scene and found the Middle brothers waiting for them, and they explained that they saw the skull sticking out among the moss. Police determined that the skull was that of a human male, and a wide-scale search was conducted that unearthed the rest of the man's skeleton. News of the Middle brothers' discovery was broadcast across news outlets throughout the UK. However, no one ever came forward with any viable leads. The John Doe didn't match any missing persons records, and police quickly found themselves at a dead end. The post-mortem examination revealed that the forest man had died from blunt force trauma and had likely been killed elsewhere before his body was left in the forest. His killer or killers were most likely local to the area, and it's believed that his remains had been there since 2004. The coroner also performed carbon dating and dental examinations, and these revealed that the forest man was likely born between 1950 and had a set of unique teeth. His dental work revealed that during his early years, he'd not looked after his teeth very well, causing him to lose his posterior molars. However, at some point in his life, he'd obtained the funds to undergo extensive dental work. The forest man had numerous crowns in his front teeth, which would have been expensive and were most likely fitted between 1980 and 2000. His dental records are available, and police believe that this is their most viable lead due to their unique nature, with the forensic odontologist commenting, saying as the dental work was highly distinctive and involved specialist work, it could allow a dentist to identify the victim. The forest man was also suffering from arthritis at the time of his death and had multiple injuries to his back, including fused vertebrae. Again, these conditions would have been extensively documented through his medical records. The man is described as a white male, over the age of 54, and 5'8" to 5'10". He was wearing a dark green jumper and red underwear. His dental records and DNA are available for comparison, and anyone with information is asked to contact the North Wales Police at 0300 330 0101. Number 3. Authorities discovered the body of a woman at Low Water Crossing off of Highway MM North in Dixon, Pulaski County, Missouri, on May 25, 1981. The woman, who is described as white or possibly Hispanic or even Native American, remains unnamed to this day. The woman was aged 25 to 40 and has now become known as the Pulaski County Jane Doe, in absence of her real identity. Her autopsy revealed that she died 4 to 5 hours before she was discovered, and her cause of death was asphyxiation. Authorities believe that this had happened elsewhere, and that she was left in the water crossing in the hopes that the water would sweep her away. There are no other distinguishing marks or features, except for the fact that despite her young age, she wore dentures. She was found wearing a Tri-1 dark blue white pinstriped long-sleeve blouse, in-gear blue jeans, a blue bikini-cut underwear, and a white bra that had the name either Jubal or Julie written inside. Due to her remains being unrecognizable, DNA, fingerprints, and dental records are all available. Sadly, these avenues have provided little leads for the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office to work with. The Pulaski County Jane Doe was recently exhumed, and isotope testing was performed on her in the hopes that we may be able to discover where she was born and more information about her ethnicity. The isotope testing revealed that she was born in the USA, but had not been in Missouri for more than a few years. She likely spent most of her life in Texas, Georgia, or Florida. The Pulaski County Jane Doe is described as a 25 to 40-year-old woman possibly white, Hispanic, or Native American, with black hair and brown hazel eyes. She's 5'1" to 5'5" and weighs 130 pounds. The DNA Doe Project has asked people to upload their DNA profiles to ancestry websites in the hopes of generating leads. If you have any information, you're urged to contact the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office on 573-855-1069. Number 2. On May 31st, 1995, a woman walked into the Ulsa Plaza Hotel at around 10:45 p.m. using the name Jennifer Furgate. She booked a hotel for 3 nights and claimed that she was a 21-year-old woman from Belgium. She wasn't alone, however. She was accompanied by a man who went only by the name of Louis Fairgate. The pair were extremely mysterious and kept to themselves throughout the 3 days that they were there. The mystery only deepened when Jennifer was found on June 3rd, lying on her back with a gunshot wound to the forehead. Security guards had heard 2 shots ring out just moments earlier, and they rushed to the room where the Fairgates were staying. However, they were too late. Louis Fairgate was nowhere to be seen, and his hotel room key was left inside the room. All of his personal belongings were gone, and it appeared that he had no intention of coming back to the Oslo Plaza, leaving Jennifer to foot the bill. Police were quickly called to the scene and concluded that the gunshot wound was self-inflicted and the event had been well planned out. However, recent developments have made people doubt whether this was self-inflicted, as the gun was found upside down and no blood or gunshot residue was found on her. The gun was found to be a 9mm Browning pistol produced in Belgium between 1990 and 1991. However, the serial number had been scrubbed off using acid. There were no travel or identification documents found in Jennifer's luggage, leading those closest to the case to believe that Jennifer and Lois were part of the Secret Service or part of an international crime syndicate. All of the labels had been removed from her clothing, apart from one. However, this did little to help investigators. Louis Fairgate has never been tracked down, and authorities are still unsure of his true identity. Jennifer Fairgate is described as a white female, aged 25 to 35, 5'2" and 147 pounds. She has short black hair and blue eyes. She also had expensive dental work that was done either in the US, Switzerland, Germany, or the Netherlands. DNA and fingerprints are also available. Number 1. 3 people driving Old Line Road in Vernon County, Wisconsin on May 4th, 1984, discovered a woman lying on the side of the road. At first, the group thought she may have been injured, but upon closer inspection, they realized that she was deceased. Fresh tire tracks were noticed in the gravel, making it likely that her killer had driven from the US Highway 14 and onto the road. He attempted to dispose of her, but was likely interrupted by passing motorists. The tracks indicated that he had carried on down Old Line Road and into the distance. When interviewed, passing motorists remembered seeing a yellow 1982 Datsun parked on the side of the road, with a man moving around outside. Upon searching, police found a broken denture, blood, and a man's Seiko watch. Police quickly determined that the site where the man had pulled over was not the crime scene, and that Jane Doe had been attacked elsewhere. The Vernon County Jane Doe's official cause of death was listed as blunt force trauma, with her postmortem index being 24 to 48 hours prior to her discovery. She was found fully clothed, but her hands had been severed at the wrists to prevent authorities from making identification via fingerprints. All of her clothes appear to be homemade. Her coat is described as a brown, tan, black, and turquoise plaid pattern with pink-purple lining, and the dress being described as blue and white with a large paisley pattern. There have been several rule-outs over the years, and the list of possible Arizona or New Mexico, aged 50 to 65, with brown graying hair and available for the Vernon County Jane Doe, and anyone with information is urged to contact the Vernon County Coroner's Office at 608-6 on them. DNA is also available for the Vernon County Jane Doe, and anyone with information is urged to contact the Vernon County Coroner's Office at 608-637-5284. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button.
unlock the world's greatest potential, we need empathy. Because improving your world.
This year has been an odd one, and will likely stand out as one of the strangest years in decades. But among news of a supposed new normal, there have been a number of mysteries making the year just that much stranger. These are 5 mysteries from 2020. Number 5. Managing airspace at even a modest airport is a complicated matter. With countless planes coming in and out every hour, airport traffic controllers need to have a good grip on all of the vehicles both in the air and on the runway. In recent years, drones have become a growing issue. Dozens of airports have had to close for hours while security tries to locate the airspace invaders, which would cause havoc with planes filled with people. But as technology develops, it's not only drones that airports would have to worry about. On August 30th, American Airlines Flight 1997 left Philadelphia at around 3:20 p.m. local time to begin the 5-hour journey to Los Angeles. There was nothing particularly unusual about the flight, and the plane made it to Los Angeles' LAX airport without issue. However, on approach, pilots encountered something strange. They radioed in to the control tower to inform them the plane had just passed a guy in a jetpack flying 3,000 feet above the tarmac. A few minutes later, another flight also reported seeing a man fly past with a jetpack. Despite this sounding like something from a science fiction novel, the airport tower warned incoming planes that they weren't alone in the airspace and set about trying to find the culprit. The airspace invader wasn't found on the day, and the person responsible for the disruption remains a mystery. The FBI and FAA, which is responsible for giving aircrafts permission to fly in congested zones, are now investigating the matter. Functioning jetpacks have existed for over a decade, though they don't particularly look like what most people would expect when thinking about the technology. They're relatively popular in places such as Dubai, but fuel efficiency is the main issue. While a jetpack would be able to get a person up to 3,000 feet, it's unlikely they would be able to stay there for very long, making it even more dangerous to be in such a crowded airspace as the flyer tries to quickly land. This has led many to believe it was actually a mannequin attached to a drone rather than an actual person, though without video evidence, it's impossible to say unless the culprit is caught. Number 4. This mystery began some 75 million years ago, but only came to light in June of 2020. There are still countless mysteries about the world beyond our solar system. The more we learn about the giant forces of nature, like stars and black holes, the more questions we have. Even so, scientists believe they have a general understanding of the life cycles of the stars. Large stars typically become red giants before going supernova and collapsing in on themselves to form a black hole. Of course, it's more complicated than that, and each cycle depends on the individual qualities of each star. But the general life cycle is understood. Between 2000 and 2011, scientists from around the world studied a massive star in the Kidman Dwarf Galaxy. The galaxy in question is some 75 million light-years away from Earth, much too far away for astronomers to see individual stars. However, the signatures of some stars could be detected, allowing scientists to study them. In the 10 years scientists spent studying the star, they found the star was at a late stage in its life cycle. It was what's described as a luminous blue variable, and approximately 2.5 million times brighter than our own sun. Stars of this variety are known to occasionally dramatically shift in brightness, but traces of the luminous blue signature that scientists detect would remain. Hoping studying the star could provide new insight into stars at the late stage in their cycle, scientists turned their telescopes toward the Kidman Dwarf Galaxy in late 2019. The star wasn't there. At first, it was suspected it was possibly an issue with the instruments used. Not only was the star undetectable, there wasn't even a trace of its luminous blue signature. So scientists it was suspected stage in their sight brightness, but variable. In the 10 years, scientists were astronomers to see individual stars in the Kidman Dwarf Galaxy. The galaxy in question is planes filled with people and how stars die, and might much closer to home. Any impact on our life simply transformed. It's possible the star skipped stars. However, the stage in its life cycle, occasionally dramatic late stage in their cycle, possibly an issue with the instruments used. Not only was the star undetectable, there wasn't even a trace of its luminous blue signature. So scientists tried to detect it again with a telescope in a different part of the world a few months later. There was still no sign of it. It appeared the star had completely disappeared, as if it had died long ago. However, there had been no supernova, and we've yet to detect any traces of the black hole it would have collapsed into. Scientists have two explanations for the mysterious disappearance. Though this would be the first time it's been witnessed, it's possible the star skipped the supernova stage. It would be the equivalent of the star slipping away into a sleep. Alternatively, the star could have simply transformed into a less luminous star, and the light is currently observed by dust. Whatever happened, it occurred millions of years ago, so it won't have any impact on our lives today. However, it is proof we don't fully understand how stars die, and might not be able to predict a similar occurrence happening much closer to home. Number 3. It might not be able to predict a similar occurrence happening much closer to home. Number 3. This mystery is actually one that this channel has covered relatively recently, but progress in the case means the mystery is worth a follow-up. British diplomat Richard Morris went missing while on a jog on the 6th of May this year. The 52-year-old had worked as the UK ambassador to Nepal until 2019, but had since returned home in Hampshire, where he lived with his wife and 3 children. He was well liked at work, appeared to have no personal issues, and had recently been appointed the new British High Commissioner to Fiji, due to start just a few weeks after he disappeared. He was reported missing after he didn't return home that day, and police began weeks of searching the nearby Alice Holt forest. The public were asked to search their private property for any signs of shelters that Richard could have used. It was clear the belief, at least early in the investigation, was that Richard was still alive but injured in some way, or had gotten lost and hadn't been able to make his way back home. While the forest usually hosts hundreds of visitors during the summer, the current events would have left anybody stranded in the forest rather isolated. Police also viewed hundreds of hours of CCTV footage taken from around local running paths in hopes of spotting Richard, but there was no sign of him. Richard's body was eventually discovered in August, more than 3 months after he had vanished. The body was found by members of the public on a walk in Alice Holt Forest. It's not clear if this was an area police hadn't checked during their earlier investigations, or if he had moved there after the search had been completed. There are lots of other unknowns surrounding Richard's death, and it seems finding his body hasn't actually answered many questions. At the time of the discovery, police said they weren't treating the death as suspicious, but an inquest found the cause of death to be uncertain, meaning the doctors conducting the autopsy couldn't determine his cause. It's also not been revealed if Richard died.
I used to pay $163 every month for car insurance. Now, check out how much I'm paying. $24.
The day he went missing, or survived for a portion of time after his disappearance. The inquest has been adjourned until July of next year, so it's unlikely we'll have answers soon, but hopefully his family can find peace. Number 2. On August 20th, reports came through about a strange die-off of migratory birds in the White Sands area of New Mexico. Ecologists in the area typically find at most around half a dozen dead birds in a week. The die-off was definitely disturbing, but it was thought to be an isolated phenomenon. However, it was soon discovered the issue was much more widespread. Hundreds of thousands of dead birds have been found across New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, and northern Mexico with no explanation. The unexplained die-off wasn't limited to just one species either. Warblers, bluebirds, sparrows, blackbirds, western wood peewees, and flycatchers are all among the species caught up in the die-off. Many residents have also reported the birds acting strangely shortly before they died. The birds were lethargic and unresponsive, which only added to the die-off as the birds were unable to get out of the way of oncoming traffic. Even birds that don't typically come down to the ground, spending their entire lives in the air or in the trees, were stranded on the ground and let humans approach them. Ecologists are currently working to try to figure out what might have happened and how to prevent something like this from happening again. It's likely there are a number of factors that might have played a part in the strange die-off. At first, scientists from the Californian wildfires that are ravaging the West Coast were to blame. The fires likely forced many birds to migrate early, meaning they didn't have enough energy for the journey. The smoke and other particles in the air would also play a part. However, ecologists started to see isolated die-offs earlier in August before the fires began to take hold, meaning some other cause kick-started this mystery. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services are currently conducting necropsies to determine the exact cause of death and shed some light on the mystery. Number 1. Thousands of people around the world have received mysterious packages of seeds with no note or explanation. Many feared the seeds were a form of eco-terrorism or some other biological weapons. Warnings from government agencies telling people not to plant them heightened the fear. The first reports of these mystery seeds came from the United States in May. A few dozen residents in Utah made the news when they received unsolicited packages from China. Although they hadn't ordered anything that would have resulted in packages, they opened them to find the mystery seeds. Within a month, there were reports of similar packages across the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Although all packages appeared to be from China and sent via China Post, others had labels indicating they were from Taiwan or even Zambia. Authorities from multiple countries warned people not to plant the seeds. Instead, they were to be sent to government agencies or destroyed to stop them germinating in landfills. Of course, many people were too curious to leave the seeds alone. Ignoring the warnings, people across America have admitted to placing the seeds with mixed results. Some of these never germinated, but others grew well and even resulted in plants. The big worry about these plants was that they could be an invasive species. Japanese knotweed is the best example of such a plant. It was brought from Japan to Europe in the 1800s. Plants was that they could be an invasive species. Japanese knotweed is the best example of such a plant. It was brought from Japan to Europe in the 1800s. Initially, Victorians liked the plant because it looked like bamboo, but it rapidly grew out of control. Such plants are difficult to remove, have an impact on native biodiversity, and even cause property damage. Another worry is that the seeds may contain plant diseases from East Asia. With no defense against the foreign disease, native plants and crops could be ravaged by it. Tests found that the seeds were a mix of ornamental, fruit and vegetable, herb and weed species. Essentially, they were normal plants and most likely not dangerous. Most authorities have now come to the conclusion the seeds are part of a brushing scam. Online sellers will send fake packages out and use them to create fake reviews. Seeds are used due to their low cost and matching the weight of the items that are supposedly being sold. The only mystery that remains is how these sellers got the names and addresses of thousands of people around the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future videos.